Well, I just think it's good to be a woman in this age because I think we are given such opportunities, which was not the case a generation ago.
Yeah.
So that's a great advantage. I think women work collaboratively a lot. We like working collaboratively. So I think having support groups is really important. And we have such access to knowledge and information. So, being up to date, very important.
When I was going for my very first grant, Gordon Stanley, who I mentioned as an important mentor, was on the panel, and so there's two bits to the story. So he was on the panel, and the guy who was a oncologist who I was going to be interviewed with gave me the advice to wear my short black skirt to the interview, and I did. And afterwards, Gordon Stanley said, "That was interesting. All of these blokes around the table talked about your short black skirt and not about your research," which was that sounds like a silly story, but actually it was a really significant thing for me because I didn't want to be known for my short black skirt. I wanted to be known for my research, and it was really hard then to kind of figure out what, and I think this is the problem women have with in a male-dominated society, what you're actually being rewarded for if you get grants, if you're asked to be part of a collaboration. So I think that's where working with women makes life much more simple. But I think that just not paying attention to the gender issues and getting on with things, to me, is the best way to go, because you can't really ever figure out what's going on at other levels. And also really supporting other women.
My advice to women is doing research is you've got to see it as the long haul, because there are obstacles along the way, the personal difficulties to fit a career in around family life, but in the end, I think the research and the work itself speaks for itself, and despite obstacles, you can make it work and make a success of it, based on the quality of what you do.
Yeah, it is about establishing that healthy balance and not locking yourself up in a room to work into the wee hours. You just can't get away with that for very long. So yeah, I think your social support system is really important, and just a healthy lifestyle, having interests outside of brain injury. So I'm very careful about what I do outside of my work hours in terms of not allowing it to totally consume me. I read really silly fiction books, and so I'm very careful about when I'm at work. Boy, do I give it my full focus, but when I'm not, I really try and give myself that time to have the time out. I think it just makes you work more effective and cleverer ideas when you've had proper time out. So yeah, balance.
Yeah.
And being connected, as you said, to the right people for mentoring.
Yeah. Well, surrounding yourself with successful women definitely helps, because you feel like you can do it. When you see other women around you who have achieved great things, you think, well, if they can do it, I can do it. But I would also say to surround yourself with great men. So some of my great mentors in my life have actually been men, and they do have different insights to women in terms of, for example, I've been in the world of NHMRC funding now for a very long time, and the men in particular who helped me learn about how to apply for an NHMRC grant, how to write in a certain way, how to go for an interview in Canberra with a panel of 9 people and get through that gauntlet of a barrage of questions that are basically there to pull to pieces the weaknesses that you have and expose them to everybody, and then you're meant to respond in a lawyer-like way. It was men who were very good at giving me direction about how to speak, particularly to try and lose some of the way I speak because I'm a woman. So being more direct and refuting, being able to say, no, actually that's not right what you've just said, this is what's right. That didn't come naturally to me. If somebody said your publication record's terrible, it was like, oh, maybe it is. Whereas you've got to go in there and say, no, what you're saying is incorrect. My publication in relation to my field is excellent, outstanding. So I think finding some good male mentors is extremely important to be a successful female academic as well.
One thing is really important for women in particular is to protect the time that you've got to do your research. It seems to me research it's like a slow burn. It's a long, often the goals are long, whereas the day can get very much filled up with teaching or clinical work or administration, things that seem important at the time. And I think the one thing that women really need to do is to quarantine that time in the week or time in the day where they can get their research done, because I think it's very easy to let other things crowd out.
Very
That would
true.
be my advice.